Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Good evening. Welcome to your Direct Connection. Tonight we connect you with expert advice on buying and selling homes and qualifying for mortgages. Joining us to talk about the 2019 housing market are Patty Kallmeyer. She is branch vice president at Coldwell Banker, and Heidi Gage is branch manager at Movement Mortgage. Delighted to have both of you with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being here. Let's start with, I guess the biggest development in real estate has to be what's been happening with mortgage rates in recent weeks. Early June now, what are the rates like?
So, we're somewhere between the mid to high threes and low fours, and it really depends upon your down payment, credit score, the loan program that you're going after, but they're certainly significantly lower than they were last year at this time.
Even a few months ago, what was it like?
We were up in the upper fours. We were looking at, predictions were at the beginning of the year that we would be at 6 by the end of 2019. We're clearly not going in that direction at this point.
Nice surprise.
Patty, does that number make a difference in your business?
It certainly helps because it makes it easier for buyers to purchase properties. Even if pricing is going up, which it is slightly, buyers still are excited about buying their home.
We did this topic on this program roughly a year, 14 months ago, and at the time we're told that the real estate market was red hot. I guess rates were pretty low. Things apparently were just flying. Where are we now?
I think low to mid-priced homes are still pretty hot. Buyers are still out there. The higher-priced homes, people are taking a little bit longer to purchase them. So I would say we're into a little bit of a cautious mode, but it's still very healthy.
What's weighing on higher-priced homes? Does it have anything to do with the new tax law and people having just done their taxes and maybe understanding the law better, limiting what you can deduct?
I think certainly there are people who are looking to understand that law better, and they're not sure what they want to do. And also, I think spending that amount of money, even though they can afford it, though they are just more cautious.
When you talk to financial professionals, they always talk about inventory.
Yeah.
What does that mean to begin with? When you talk inventory,
how many active listings are on the market? Our inventory is still down. There was a slight uptick from the end of the year to now, but it was like 0.6%.
So if inventory is way up, if it's 10 years ago, times are bad, it means a lot of people are trying to sell and can't.
That's right.
It's nothing like that.
Not like that at all, no.
Okay.
There are not enough homes to buy. We're still a little bit under 3 months of inventory. If we took 3 months to sell everything we had on the market, it would be all gone.
And 3 months is a relatively healthy number.
No, we think that there is definitely a shortage of inventory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Less than healthy.
Mm-hmm. Less than healthy.
Well, let me remind our viewers, if you have a question about mortgages, qualifying different types of mortgages, you have a question about real estate, how to sell that house quickly, how to find the right property that you want, give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen. You could also email your questions. The email address is livequestions@mpt.org. Regionally, how big a region do you cover?
Well, today, real estate agents obviously cover a large area because they follow the business. So we do all of the Mid-Atlantic within the state of Maryland for the most part. We have agents at the beach, certainly. Some agents go over there, but Howard County, Anne Arundel, Baltimore County, Baltimore City, Harford County.
Okay.
Pretty broad.
Well, let me ask you the how do I sell my house quickly question.
Pricing and product presentation have to come together.
Okay.
So the condition of your property, knowing what your competition is, meaning other active listings on the market, and pricing it just right. No playing with the market.
So how well do people know what their house is worth? They may have known what the guy across the street sold his for, but is there frequently a process where people's expectations have to be readjusted a little bit?
Almost always. People look at a lot of different resources. They get online and you can find all kinds of value.
That's just where I was going next.
That's right. So your best source is a real estate agent.
I mean, I've heard Zillow is the website, I guess, that comes to mind. I know there's some others.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is just a computer. So
Right.
there's some interesting stuff, but you can't really take that to the bank.
Zillow never came out and looked at your home.
They took a satellite picture.
Not enough. Not enough.
Now, Heidi, how about appraisals? So we've talked about whether people know what their house is worth. When it goes to an appraiser before the mortgage is issued, how are those appraisals coming back?
I haven't had any issues with underappraising. So to me, that says we're in a good, healthy market, but we're not in so hot of a market that people are overbidding and overspending on houses. So that's a good place to be in, obviously. But so we haven't had any problems with the values at this point.
What else trips people up? Credit?
Credit, as far as applying for a mortgage, it's credit. I think people have a perception that it's still hard to get a mortgage. We came out of the recession, and the millennials watched their parents suffer as a result of it, and getting into the mortgage, and buying a mortgage as a millennial, I think has been it's been slower. It's coming around, but now that they are out and buying, and they see that there are 3% down mortgages with grant money from the state of Maryland, there are definite ways to buy, and I think that it's really helped.
Okay, I want to come back to that grant money, which people will be interested in. Let's take a call from Prince George's County. This is Tawanda. Tawanda, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, you're on.
Oh, yes, thank you. Hi, my name is Tawanda, and thank you so much for being here. I was sharing with the young lady who answered my call. I've been trying to get a home, single-family home. I've talked to 2 real estate agents. The first one told me because I owe the IRS that I would not be able to, at this time, apply for a home. And if I did, I would need to put down at least $10,000. And I'm like, I don't have that, and I have a payment plan with the IRS. And as long as I have a payment plan, that should be okay.
And that probably goes out a few years, right?
I'm sorry?
The payment plan probably stretches on for a while.
It does. Yeah. And that's what he said. He said, you know, that goes on forever. I said, well, every bit of money I get, I do add that. So he was concerned about that. And he said, give us a call in 3 years. And I'm like, geez. So I called another real estate agent 3 weeks later, told them the same thing. And this person said, well, you need about $9,000 to $10,000 for a single-family home. I said, well, I've seen some single-family homes for like $150. He said, no, I don't know where you're looking.
Tawanda, let me stop you there because I want to get an answer to your question.
Okay.
Thank you very much for calling. Best of luck with this. Young buyers, what do you tell them from the mortgage standpoint and the real estate standpoint?
I think the first step is to start with the pre-approval.
I think so too.
The first place that anyone should start is with the lender. Get pre-approved, have that lender do their due diligence, look at the credit, look at the assets, look at your income. If someone can't buy right now, a good lender is going to actually give that buyer a roadmap on what they need to do to buy.
I was going to ask, how much can you help somebody?
And
what should they be doing?
You can give them ideas. You can point them in the direction for, fixing credit or paying down debt, and talking to them about their credit scores. If their credit scores aren't at a place that they can buy right now, we can definitely guide them as a professional to take certain actions with their credit and improve their scores so they are buyer ready. But they definitely need to start with a lender. I think the hardest and most heart-crushing thing for a first-time home buyer is to go look at a house and find out they can't afford it or can't buy it. So
Right.
if you can start with the pre-approval and then move forward with
And
a
Patty,
real estate
Or they
agent.
look at a price that's too high for them, and they're going to fall in love with that, and then everything else pales.
Now, Patty, you talked about the middle of the market being sort of the hottest.
Yes.
Right? So what does that mean about starter homes?
Starter homes are very popular right now. First-time home buyers, I think they have a pretty easy time, especially because of the interest rates.
And what was this? Who mentioned the state grant money?
So the Maryland
First, I heard of that. What is that?
So the Maryland Mortgage Program is actually a state program that offers financing for, and it's not just first-time home buyers anymore that can be repeat buyers, but they offer grant money and loan money to help people with their down payment and closing costs. So oftentimes we can combine the grant and the loans with seller assistance and different federal programs. So it's important to make sure that when you're talking to a lender that they are aware of all of those different programs that are out there.
Very good. Let's go out to Frederick County. This is Elizabeth. Elizabeth, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Yes, I am a 58-year-old widow living in Frederick County. I've lived in my house for 25 years, and I was wondering if it would be better for me to try to fix up my home before I sell it, or should I just sell it as is?
That's a great question. Thank you very much. Best of luck. You must hear that from everybody.
We hear that often. Thank you, Elizabeth. What I say is, how much do you have in upgrading to do? Are you going to get that money back? You probably will not get your full investment back. But then to sell a home for as is often comes a little bit stigmatized. People think there might be something wrong with it.
What if it's just that it obviously needs a roof, and you know that when the inspector comes through, he or she is going to say, wow, that's a 40-year-old HVAC system. Does it make any sense for the homeowner to do that so that the buyer can go see brand new stuff? Or is that buyer who cares about brand new stuff going to go buy new construction?
It would make sense that if you replace the heating unit, that would be certainly more value, but that's the unsexy stuff. People want to see the visual upgrades. They would like to have everything done. So perhaps adding a home warranty to it would be better. That way, when it does go up and a buyer comes in, that, and you have to price your home accordingly. You have to take into consideration what that would be.
What should somebody expect to pay for a home warranty?
About $600. You pay it at the settlement table.
And that gives the buyer some confidence that that old HVAC isn't.
Yes, right. If it goes up, then you're covered.
Call from Howard County. This is Topper. Topper, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes.
I just wanted to check and see, is it better to go along with a mortgage lender which will aid in terms of getting your mortgage approved quicker and or better terms, or would it also be prudent to just go through a bank? The other question I have is, how about purchasing land initially and then getting the home built on the land?
Okay, let's take them one at a time. How to find a mortgage lender who will work with you. Our softball of the evening.
There you go. So banks are they're tied to obviously depository companies, and so you've got different guidelines that the banks I find are a little bit more strict. When you go to a mortgage lender that is a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac direct lender, which is what I do, we have a little bit more flexibility because we're underwriting and selling directly to Fannie and Freddie.
Okay.
So I think the natural choice is to go directly to your bank, but I find that they're a little bit more strict, and they have different overlays.
Now, the idea of buying some land and building a house. There was an email question, sort of a similar vein. First-time home buyer bought a rehabbed home. I don't know how much it was rehabbed, but how can I increase the value while I'm living there? The idea of like getting in and then fixing it up, or in this caller's idea, just building from scratch.
If you can withstand the stress of building something new on your own, then certainly you can do that. But you need to be very well versed in all of the elements that come with building a brand new home. And it's many, many different layers of things. Are you going to buy a spot lot, meaning just one single lot out in the middle of somewhere else? Or are you going to go with a home builder, which is probably your better idea if you've never done anything like that before? In terms of rehabbing a home and getting value, time in your home, certainly, maintaining it, making small changes maybe. It depends on how much it's been rehabbed and where.
Everybody
Kitchens
who's
and
watched
bathrooms are big.
Yes, everybody who's watched any of these shows on Home and Garden.
HGTV,
yeah, and it looks appealing, and you hear ads on the radio still for flippers. You buy something, over time, fix it up, sell it. Can an amateur do that and build value?
What I have seen in the market is that when you're an amateur and you're doing it, typically you get yourself in too deep. You can't estimate properly what it's going to cost you, and one problem may uncover another problem, and then you're in so deep you can't get the money out. So you really need to do your homework.
Yeah.
What's
Please.
nice is we have the lending side of, we have 3 different types of renovation loan products that will allow you to either buy and renovate a house or refinance and renovate a house. And in all 3 of those loan programs, there's VA, which is 100% financing. There's FHA at 3.5% down, and there's conventional at 3% down. And this will allow someone to buy and renovate all in one loan, or refinance and renovate all in one loan. But what's nice is that you're required to employ the contractor that's going to, and have a consultant that's going to follow you through the process. That is a third-party estimator, and they're certified by HUD. And that's there to hopefully prevent the getting in over your head.
So the mortgage company can help with that.
Yes, we try.
In the case of the first-time home buyer who wants to fix the place up over time, is it possible to borrow against some of those improvements? How would you do that?
Well,
like putting in the new kitchen?
Absolutely. So it's not really borrowing against it, but when you go to the lender for a renovation loan, we're actually lending on the after improved value of the home. So while you may buy for $200 and you want to put $50 into it, we're actually going to be looking for the after improved value, not the as is, which is basically going to be $200, because that's where you're purchasing.
So you're not paying credit card interest rates on
Correct. And it's tax deductible.
the subway tile. Very good. Let's go back to the phones. Carroll County, this is David. David, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
I'm trying to want to sell my nephew my home. Appraised about $333, and I owe $228 on it. I'm trying to find out if he has to put 20% down, I was told, and I was also told that because it was appraised at a higher amount, even though it needs a lot of work, that I would have to give him like a gift of equity.
So, okay, let's get you some advice on that. Thanks for the call. What do you think?
So
Is it not an arm's length transaction, as they say?
It's an identity of interest. And it would depend on, and I would suggest that you reach out to a lender about this, because it's based on if you live in the property or if, I think it's his nephew lives in the property. There are different rules that surround that. But if there is an identity of interest, it's 15% down. You can do a gift of equity. It appraised for much higher than what he wants to sell it for, I believe. So that's definitely something to reach out and speak with a lender that's knowledgeable on.
And I mean, people do deals within families all the time. You don't, sorry, need a real estate agent for that necessarily. Lawyer isn't a bad idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Are we sure?
I've actually had family members to go to real estate agents because they want to know what it's going to sell for, and they want a third party opinion. So that realtor is the one to give you the professional advice on what the value and what the market's doing and what you can sell it for. And then they can write the contract, and it's legal for Maryland.
Right. Carroll County again. This is Jessica. Jessica, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Jessica from Westminster. I
Yes.
have a question regarding the hidden costs of homeowners insurance. By the way, I didn't use a realtor. I found a piece of land, and we used part of our 401k and got a modular home put on it, and never used a realtor. I have USAA homeowners insurance, which is for soldiers and sailors only and their families, so that's an actual better rate. But I have 2 wood sheds. We have a wood-burning stove that my husband made, and I'm forced to carry insurance that's supposed to be 10% of whatever the total is. They have these insane formulas that they go by. So these 2 3-sided sheds that aren't even tied down or anchored or anything, but just for covering wood, are having to be insured at $18,000. I am not kidding you.
Well, he did a very nice job on them, apparently.
There you go. time to get some renters, you know?
There you go.
Anyway,
yeah, I don't know if we have an answer on that, but
this is important, and this is where, you know, when you think about, you know, soldiers and sailors taking their lives or families being nipped and tucked, you know, when the insurance goes up, the mortgage goes up because it's all tied together in an escrow account. And then when that goes up, the taxes go up.
Jessica, thank you very much. Best of luck. Any thoughts there?
You know, I'm not an insurance specialist,
Right.
so I wouldn't want to give advice in that regard.
You know, when we were doing shows like this a decade ago, there were constant foreclosures. You had people who were upside down. How much of that do you see? There's always some. What do you see now?
We're still seeing a little bit of that, but it's been significantly reduced. Yeah.
Good idea to buy, maybe it's in the fixer-upper category. Is that something amateurs ought to think about?
You know, I don't think it's good to be an amateur at that because it's a major investment. So I think you really do either need to employ the specialists or the professionals and get some guidance in that regard.
Yeah. Prince George's County, this is Thomas. Thomas, thanks for calling. Go ahead. Thomas, you're on.
Oh, yes.
What's your question, sir?
My name is Thomas West.
Yes, sir.
Yes, had a mortgage with Countrywide. I want to know how can I get my money back from Countrywide.
Thank you very much. It was a long time ago that Countrywide was writing mortgages, right?
Correct. That was.
And that might be a legal question that
Would be definitely best served by an attorney.
I'm not sure about. Let me take a look at this email question, which may take me a second. This is what we were just talking about. I owe more on my home than it's worth. Property value has dropped drastically since I moved in 12 years ago, so bought at the peak. Was new construction then, working to move into a larger home. Should I keep this home and rent it out or sell it and take the loss? Where to begin?
Wow.
Yeah.
There's so many questions to
So wants to move
additional
into a
questions
bigger
to
home.
ask. Yeah, can they afford to do that?
Right.
That would be the first question I would have.
Right.
Sure, from a mortgage standpoint.
And we do allow people to depart their residence that they're in right now and then rent that and buy new if they've got the money to put the down payment and they don't need the equity from the sale of the home to purchase. Obviously, we're talking about a negative equity situation here.
Right.
But I would be hard-pressed to believe that there's a lot of negative equity. I would say check with a realtor.
Yeah.
Get an
12
appraisal
years.
and maybe reinvestigate. I know that there's a lot of perception that everybody is still upside down. I hear that a lot from clients that call me to refinance and then they're pleasantly surprised a lot.
Especially with the new construction, typically that value increases pretty rapidly. Even though 12 years ago it was difficult, but a lot of it has come back. And my other question to that email person would be, do you really want to be a landlord?
Right.
Always a good question.
A few minutes left here. Let's do some bottom line advice for people and mistakes that you see, mistakes that buyers make. Certainly, there's some on the mortgage side. In terms of qualifying and
I think their biggest, the first mistake that I see most buyers make is they call the realtor first because it's much more exciting to go look at houses than it is to pull out W-2s and bank statements and pay stubs. But I think that it's vital to start there because you need to know what your payment is, you need to know what your cash to close is going to be, and that's what the lender's going to tell you before you go shopping. And they'll also tell you about the programs that you might be qualified for. So start there. And I think that people, they read Credit Karma and they see what their credit score is and they assume that that might be what their score is. And that's not always the score that comes through to the lender. It's a different scoring model.
Is it usually close? Or you get surprises?
Not always. So
really?
Just the consumer credit scores are a different scoring model than what the mortgage lenders use. So it's important to allow the lender to pull the credit and just kind of get the skeletons out of the closet if there are any. And I love when there aren't any and they're pleasantly surprised and they can move right on.
When fixed rates are coming down like they have recently, do you see more people doing fixed rates as opposed to adjustable?
Yes, absolutely. When they popped up last spring, summer, I saw more of a run to the ARMs. I am 99% fixed rate at this point.
Let's grab one more phone call. Stafford County, this is Mark. Mark, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I had a credit union cancel a home equity line of credit and refused to complete a refinance that we were going through because I intended to put our house back into a trust after all this had been accomplished. I was wondering what the legal ramifications were, if it was legal, and what I should have done.
Well, interesting story. I'm not sure we can help you with that one.
I would read your home equity line of credit paperwork. This is a line of credit that you currently have open. There are different circumstances in which a bank can either decrease or cut the credit line. So it's oftentimes it's value or credit.
All right, back to mistakes people make when it comes to buying a house. What have you seen people do that maybe they shouldn't have done?
That's such a great question. Buyers will call in and they want to go and see homes right away. I suggest that you come into an office, sit down with a real estate agent, you spend 2 hours with them. You will know the entire process, what to expect, what not to expect. The agent can help guide you where you want to go rather than looking in 5 different counties. They're going to uncover all of those needs and desires that you have. So spending a little bit of time with an agent up front, after, or right before you get pre-approved for a mortgage, that I think is valuable time well spent.
And is there any way to say to a seller who maybe wants to sell the house and get out and be somewhere else in time for school starting up in the fall, that we can move this house in a set period of time?
Sure. I mean,
just lower the price, we can sell the house.
The price has to be right. We can't play with the market, but also the condition of the property. Buyers today do want more things completed and done in the house. So I think get an agent in there, have them evaluate the house, and make sure that the product presentation and the price.
Very good.
Together.
Patty Kohlmeyer with Coldwell Banker and Heidi Gage with Movement Mortgage. This was fun. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us for Direct Connection, and have a good night.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.